Okay, that sounds a lot better. All right. We have two of them on here, but that's all right. Sounds great. So we are now in a public meeting talking about budgets for for the convention center. Got Danny Wheeler with us here, so go ahead, Danny, and tell us where you're at.
Sure. So Danny Wheeler, Spectra Venue Management, General Manager of the Utah Valley Convention Center. For our, and really we have two budgets here. We have our operating budget and then our capital expenditure budget. On the operating budget for 2018, couple things that we're seeing overall compared to 2017. We're anticipating, as we've discussed previously, a lower gross revenue number than what we're at this year, largely due to the parking concerns that we have in the situation that we're in. We know of several events that have told us that they've already rebooked somewhere else in 2018 that held their events in 2017 due to the parking situation. So we're looking at, in our budget, hosting 11 fewer events and making up about $150,000 in revenue of compared to budget of 2017. The number due to those parking, the measured parking complaints that we've had is actually closer to 250,000, but we feel like we can make up about 100,000 of that, especially if the plans in place for the current temporary parking solution hold true, which we're still waiting on with the rest of that demolition of the RC Willey lot.
So that $250,000 is just the effect that it has on the convention center.
That's correct.
That
That's
does
just
not have
revenue to the convention center.
It
Does
has
not
nothing to
include
do with
economic impact. at all.
economic impact, which could be in the millions.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. So from a gross revenue standpoint, like I said, we're anticipating being down. It's 142,726. So for a total revenue for 2018 of $2.847 million. We've really worked on because going into the year knowing that revenue is going to be down. Our indirect expenses from 17 to 18 are actually down $8,100, which, as you know, in business today is not an easy thing to do. Utilities, everything kind of increases year over year. So it really took, asking the different department heads within the convention center to find areas to cut. So last year, our budgeted indirects were $2,413,000. For 2018, it's $2,405,000. So like I said, a decrease of $8,100. But for a bottom line subsidy, we're looking at a subsidy of $342,000 compared to last year at $320,000. And again, it just goes back to that loss of revenue.
Right.
So an increase in subsidy of $22,000 from one budget to the next. Now, obviously, in 2017, we've performed very well and won't be anywhere near that number. And then just to note, that net income subsidy line item on the budget does include the fixed management fee paid out to Global Spectrum, whereas in the TRCC budget, that's actually a separate line item. So just to note that ours rolls up into that. For the 2018 budget year, that fixed management fee is $100,000, which is about a $20,000 decrease from what it is in 2017, based on us rolling into our contract renewal year as of January 1st, 2018.
Right.
So that that runs through the income statement. I also submitted an income statement detail that breaks out where those expenditures, the $2.4 million expenditures come from on our indirects, as well as what our event expense percentages, what we spend on food and beverage and audio visual and operations labor and those things that go into putting on each individual event. Questions I can answer for you.
Nope, nope, thank you. And I think you touched on it. You know, the parking issue has affected us, and it will affect us into 2018. And that's going to be, that's part of our big concern is that issue, and hopefully we can get past that sooner, and then offset that with individuals who are coming in, event planners, you know, who are coming in and saying, you know, we've got the parking situation solved, because there are some that have been spoiled, and who knows how long
Yeah.
they're spoiled. I would hope that after we get the parking issue solved, those that had been spoiled, maybe we'd send out a letter or something just to reassure them that that we've got this solved and we're moving forward with it, so we're not losing that on years and years to come.
Yeah, and obviously already proactively doing that with the planned temporary solution. Until that building is down and there's asphalt poured and line striped,
Yeah.
we're very hesitant just because it is completely out of our hands and out of our control, but we're certainly communicating, here's the plan that's in place and what that's going to look like from a parking situation wise.
Okay, great. Deneen, any questions that you had on that part of the budget? Very good. Being that I'm the only one here, we'll move to the next one.
Okay, so our next budget is our capital expenditure budget. And what I sent you is a 5-year rolling forecast for that. What I'm going to focus on today, since it's the only thing that is being proposed to be approved, is the 2018 column. Certainly, as you or the other commissioners have any questions over our future years, which I know we've discussed, you know, some of the upgrades, you know, once we get to that 4 or 5 year mark from now, building's 10 years old, the carpet, doors, paint, you know, some of those things. You know, I'm certainly happy to talk through those with you.
That was just a pause.
That's all right. All right. So for 2018, the projects that we have on here in the banquet equipment and small wares item include some china. Currently, we do not have when we bought all of our china initially, we don't have a pasta bowl of any sort. We have our dinner plates, which, you know, is what we serve almost all of our meals on. What we're proposing, there's a $13,000 line item, which would get us about 320 of the pasta bowls, as well as the carts and the lids for those. What that really allows us to do, one of the concerns that we've had over the years, specifically to our state per diem menu, is, you know, pasta is one of the things that it's easy to fit in and back into any menu price. And we just really don't have a great way of being able to do that right now. So we feel like, you know, from a state per diem standpoint, as well as flexibility on just menu items in general, we think it's something that can improve our food and beverage operation and give us more capabilities year round on being able to service our events. Down on the servers line item, there's a $9,500 earmarked for. We have a backup server for all of our servers there in the convention center that's actually located in the Utah County Public Works building. And that server is the original server from 2012 when we installed it. We've since replaced all the servers in our building, but we haven't replaced that backup server. So that's what that $9,500 is earmarked for. The biggest project for 2018 that we're proposing has to do with our Wi-Fi system. Again, technology changes quickly. Wi-Fi has become an expectation as much as a request in the convention business. And so we have met with Converge One and Cisco and have some design plans in place for what that improved Wi-Fi system would look like. The backbone of the system is our wireless controller, which actually still has life in it. So it doesn't include a new controller. We can use our existing controller. They haven't announced end of life for that. And if they haven't announced end of life, Cisco typically supports that equipment for another 5 years. So we think we're good with that, which would have added another $20,000 to this project that we don't have to put in. But what we'd be doing is replacing all of the access points throughout the building, including adding access points. Right now we have 20 access points, Each access point supports anywhere from 50 to 100 devices. So like in our ballroom, for example, and you've been to enough events in there, we have 6 access points in there, which means we can support anywhere from 300 to 600 devices.
Yeah.
We're past the point of that being adequate. And so with this upgrade, we'd actually go from 6 up to 18. Difference being that the current APs that we have are omnidirectional, that are just covering a blanket area, which doesn't allow us to get more than 6 in a space that size. We're switching to external antennas, which will really allow us to get those 18 access points in our ballroom and have 18 basically hotspots, which will then allow us to support anywhere from 900 to 1800 devices, which, you know, when we have a general session for 1,000 people, we're seeing well over 1,000 devices. Almost everyone has a phone plus
Right.
laptops and tablets and stuff. So it would take our total number of access points from 20 currently up to around 54, and really get us to what I would hope would be the leader of the pack with our competition. So that line item for that, which would include all the equipment, all the install, all the programming, is $141,800. So it's a big ticket
Yeah.
item, but again, I feel like it sells the building as much as anything. Next line item is under our audio visual department, and it's updated technology. Again, our projectors that we use for our big events are coming up on 6 years old. Outdated technology. They're all VGA connections. So we have a line item of $26,550, and what that would be is 3 new 8,500 lumen projectors, which would all be HDMI, which gives us the higher resolution. Basically meets what our clients are expecting us to be able to produce. So that
How's that
line
compare
item.
with the competition on that one?
I'm sorry.
Or how's that compare with the competition
As far as the quality of a projector.
quality? Yeah, in the way. Of,
You know, if they're going through a third-party production company like a Web Audio Visual or Cornerstone that do a lot of the big production, you know, when doTERRA does their big convention, I mean, they're at 10,000, 12,000 lumen projectors. So, you know, you're talking those can be $30,000, $40,000 a piece, and so we're certainly not trying to match that, but brand new 8,500 lumen projectors service 90-95% of the events of what they're looking for from us.
okay.
It also includes that lineup includes not only the 3 projectors, but an additional short and long throw lens. We currently have 2, so the projectors we have are Panasonics. The ones that we're looking at getting are also Panasonic, so the lenses that we have will be interchangeable, but it would include a third long throw and short throw, which gives us the flexibility of in a tight set being able to put the projector in the back of the room and throw it across the room to the screen, or put it within 8 feet instead of its normal 20 feet, which again, just events kind of dictate that necessity sometimes. Our next line item is our door access system. So we are on the county's iNet system for their Prox cards. And I know Brady Christensen and Public Works is working on that upgrade coming next year. This 5,800 is the number that I was given from Brady as the convention center's portion of what that upgrade would look like.
So the use would be the same.
Yeah. And we're actually this year have upgraded our camera system, and my understanding is when they upgrade this iNet system, there'll actually be some integration available between camera system and our iNet system. And I don't know all the details on that, but that's what Utah Yamas Controls has let us know. So it'll give us added capability.
So it's a needed thing, or is it just time to do it?
The iNet
Yeah.
system? No, it's I think it's out of life.
Okay.
The 6 years that I've been here, I mean, I believe it's the software and hardware updates. Yeah.
So we have the same problem in the county? Okay.
So again, yeah, this is just our
Coordination
portion of
with
that.
our budget as well, okay?
Yeah. Our next item is in the doors category. Up on our third floor, up in those cascade rooms, right now, the 4 doors leading from the cascade rooms into our service hallway are wood doors that match all the other doors in the building. And those have taken a tremendous beating over the years. And so this would include replacing those 4 wooden doors to go to metal doors, and replace those altogether. And then this also includes what we find is on our wood doors, which we have replacement costs on, and they're not cheap. We're finding that most of the damage is coming from the edge of the doors. And so this also includes us ordering and installing stainless steel edge guards on all of the wooden doors in the building. So for instance, there's 22 wooden doors in the ballroom that have a replacement cost of, $50,000-$60,000. Whereas, we feel like if we put these edge guards on the doors, it can extend the life of those doors by several years.
Is that, I'm assuming they're all fire doors,
They are all fire
and
rated
so
doors.
with them being chipped or it damages, probably, does it void or have problem with their seal on the fire rating? Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, okay. Okay. What was the cost on that?
Oh, the total cost on that line item for the 4 doors plus all those edge guards is $20,536.
Wow, okay. I know those fire rated doors are expensive.
They are. Our next line item is in our furniture and equipment. It's under folding chairs. As you know, we have the Timpanogos Terrace up on our top level. And to this point, we've always put our upholstered banquet chairs out there when we have events. What this would be is an additional 120 chairs, but it's the black folding mesh ones, along with 2 carts that we would store up in that area. So whenever there were chairs out in there, on the terrace, those are the ones that we'd use exclusively, just to prevent the wear and tear of our nicer banquet chairs.
Yeah,
And the line item on the number on that is 3650. Next line item, it's in the HVAC system, and it's a $10,000 line item. This was something that we started a year or 2 ago that Don and I had discussed. Nothing is earmarked for this project, but we know that we've had compressors on split air units, and we actually had the compressor board, the control board on the compressor of one of our chillers go out last year. So this $10,000 we just put in the budget so that we have, in the case of an emergency, we have emergency funds to use when a major component of that system
we
fails.
usually put that in a restricted account. Is that usually typically what we do with, just kind of,
When you say restricted account,
it's in the budget, but it's just earmarked for,
Yeah.
that type of, and it's
Yeah.
restricted so that its use is not just shifted around, but used when only for
no, absolutely.
HVAC
That's
concerns.
exactly what it's used for, and it's
Okay.
a conversation and documentation between Don and I, and certainly getting his approval before we actually had the compressor on 3 split air units that control our telecom rooms with all of our computer and audiovisual equipment go out earlier this year, and so Don and I had a conversation. I think it was about $4,000 to $5,000, which included next day air, because we obviously had equipment worth well more than that in jeopardy with the heat and humidity, in those rooms.
Right.
But yeah, this is reserved for HVAC items,
Okay.
major component items. All right, and then the last 2 items are actually both proposed carryovers from this year. So these are both line items that when we met last year, we discussed and were approved for 2017. The first one is $7,000 up on our roof, on the roof membrane. What we had proposed was to get a walkway up there. When you get up there in late fall and through the winter and then even into early spring, it's just really slick. I'm sure you know what those membranes are like. And we actually had a slip and fall a few years back with one of the county employees. So this was proposed at that time that we really need some sort of tread up there that would get any employee from roof access, the staircase, to each of the air handlers. We spec'd this out this year, and we actually got one bid back, but we weren't able to get multiple bids. So we'd like to roll this into next spring and really try to get a couple more companies out to bid on it. That would allow us then to.
Is it gonna be a handrailed one as well? Or is it just a path?
No, so the $7,000 that we have in the budget would just be, I don't know, what is it, a
Just a path?
36-inch wide path
Yeah.
with some traction on it.
That's why whenever I walked on those, I always carried a nice big screwdriver, because I don't mind, filling in a hole or having it fix the membrane
Yeah.
if you slip and fall, but I just didn't want to go off and fall 3 stories.
Yeah, yeah. So, we still see it as a high priority. We just, again, weren't able to get enough bids on that to get it done this year. So
Yeah.
we'd like to put that into the 2018 budget. And then similar on the last line item, and that is our digital room signs. So over the last 12 months, we've replaced all of the monitors outside of each of our rooms and in the freestanding signs. Again, those were original monitors that we were replacing. So, screen burn in and just,
Yeah.
those are on 24/7. So we have all of those replaced. This $30,000 line item is for an actual new server, as well as the software platform that controls all of that. We currently use the same Cisco server that services the Health and Justice Building for the county. It's proven over the last 18 months to be unreliable, and it's obviously critical for us. If that server goes down, we don't have control over any of our digital signage. So we have a couple of platforms. We've been through about 3 webinars with some different companies with what they've proposed. We just didn't feel like we had seen it, what the solution that we wanted. And so rather than rush into a decision before the end of the year to get it within the 2017 budget, we're proposing that we roll it over and give us a few more months to really find the right solution and not just a solution that fits.
Okay. Good.
So that's all the line items on the capital budget.
All right, so we got the 2 budgets there. Any questions on that one, Deneen, that you have? All right. Anything else you have?
Oh, that's it.
Okay, we'll work down through it. I know that we're also working on, taking some of the carryover that we have when it comes to savings. I don't even know what would you call that? It's not savings. It's
Operating excess of budget versus actual performance.
yep, and putting it into an account that will carry through the years so that we can have those monies to be used for expenses like this and others that will be coming up in the future, because the building is getting a little bit older, and there's going to be some expenses that come from just replacement, like we're seeing.
Yeah.
Which is normal. And you feel comfortable with that process too? Okay.
Be looked at is just like with any other county capital project, that you're looking forward at what capital needs there are, and then you're funding that accordingly.
Okay, fair enough.
Just semantics, I
Yeah.
know, but
As long as we have it there so that we're not trying to figure it out as we get there. All right.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you very
Anything
much.
else, Don, that you have, or? All right. Thank you. This
Okay,
will end
thanks.
this portion of it then. Thank you.